Good evening, everyone. This is the East Aurora Union Free School District Board of Education meeting for Wednesday, August 25th. May I ask you to join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a motion to enter executive session to discuss collective bargaining with the East Aurora Civil Service Personnel Association, contractual negotiations with a particular corporation, and matters related to a particular employee. Moved by Kim. Is that a second by Dan?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Thank you very much. Good evening. This is the East Aurora Union Free School District Board of Education meeting for Wednesday, August 25th, 2021. We left the room until order could be restored, and we conducted no board business. We are returning from that would have been the return from executive session, where we discussed collective bargaining with the East Aurora Civil Service Personnel Association, contractual negotiations with a particular corporation, and matters related to a particular employee. Item 3, agenda changes.
Yes, so we are changing the agenda, and tonight we'll be covering items 12, consensus items requiring board action, and 13, items requiring board action.
Okay, moving on to item 12, consensus items requiring board action. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Paul, seconded by Judy. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Carried 7-0. Item 13, items requiring board action. A, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve a shared continuing community education program with Holland Central School District for the 2021-2022 school year. May I have a motion? Moved by Kim,
Second.
seconded by Dan. Discussion?
I'd like to see the reports more regularly. I know it said in the contract that they would provide an annual report, but I haven't seen one.
Sure.
Thank you, Dan. That was my question as well. I know the last one was approved in 2019, but I don't remember seeing reports in the last 2 years.
Sure.
And in the report, it tells us what the profit was or what the loss was. I think it's important for us to know what that is. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item B, resolution dated, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the resolution dated August 25th, 2021, 25th August 2021, the East Aurora Union Free School Districts declaring the district's proposed capital outlay project to be a type 2 action under seeker and authorizing and redirecting the inclusion of funding for such project in the district's proposed 2021-2022 budget as detailed in your agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Dan.
Second.
Seconded by Joe. Discussion?
Yes, I have this question. So we're looking at 200,000, the 100, the 100, or is that the same 100,000 when we do this?
100.
It's total 100,
Correct.
all line? And we'll get the building aid ratio back on that?
Correct.
Thank you.
And that will be work on the windows to continue the project from last year where we started the rehabilitation of the windows, but also phone work. I thought we redid the phones.
Joanne, do you want to talk, or Doug? You here? Just
Doug's here.
Go ahead.
Doug can explain.
Yeah, we're moving to a full IP-based phone system. Right now, the majority of our phones still run on the existing old phone network like you usually have in your house. The new phones will basically run a data network, and that is what we didn't do the last time. We did have data phones for the offices, but not for the classrooms.
I see.
So that's the upgrade we're going to do with building and tech.
Do you have to change any wiring or just the instruments?
Project that we're talking about is just for the phone system itself in the homes. The wiring is a different piece that we're working on separately.
So there'll be some wiring that will have to be done as well.
Yes, and that's being handled through the federal stimulus.
Thank
Can I
you.
ask one more question?
Yeah.
When the building aid comes in, will they just go into the general fund, or will they earmark and go back to the capital reserve?
It goes into the general fund and it helps support the next capital outlay.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item C, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the school lunch policy statement for the 2021-2022 school year as detailed in the attachment. Have a motion? Moved by Judy, seconded by Joe. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. The superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the 2021-2022 food service management company emergency contract with Personal Touch. Do I have a motion?
Quick question. We were talking
Go
about.
before, sorry, we need a motion.
So
First. Moved by Terry, seconded by Joe. Okay, Judy?
Just a quick question. I thought we were talking about farm to table. Are they still involved in that or?
I'm working on that with Personal Touch and, yes, I'm working on that.
Yeah, there's just some, logistical contractual things that we have to work through. Yeah, so, but it is, it's a great idea. It's just figuring through that.
Thank you.
As
Details.
there are any updates, would it be possible to bring those to the board? Thank you. Dan?
But just one more thing relating to lunch. I know for the coming year that lunches are provided free of charge for all students. But had that not happened, would there have been an increase in either the price of milk or of the lunch itself?
I am not sure, Dan, because there's a formula that we have to run through.
Yeah.
And because it was universal feeding all last year too, I don't know the answer.
Sooner or later, it's not going to be anymore, and we're going to have to do it. But my recollection is we always voted on the price of those.
Correct.
So, because it's been put on hold for a couple of years, when we do get back to that, I want to be sure that it becomes an agenda item, the actual cost, so that it doesn't become unaffordable for people.
Yeah, Dan, and if you recall, it's going back a few years, we were required to increase the price. We didn't have a choice. We kept our lunches pretty low and the cost of milk especially. But then we were required to raise prices.
Well, I was the test about milk.
Yeah.
So,
That's okay.
and I will continue to advocate for milk being very affordable.
We could advocate for it being alt milks as well. That'd be great, but that's a different.
Oh, there you go. Well, yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item E, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Ed approve the merger with the Holland Central School District for the following fall sports: modified A football, varsity football, JV boys volleyball, varsity boys volleyball, varsity cheerleading, modified B field hockey, modified boys volleyball, varsity field hockey, and JV field hockey effective July 1, 2021. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Kim,
Second.
seconded by Judy. Discussion?
Any changes? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask that. Has anything changed? This is just what we.
Just field hockey. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just field hockey has been added. Yep.
And that is at no cost to anybody? Is that what it
Yeah,
is?
right. That's my understanding is that, we really worked on trying to just work together and share the teams and share the locations and if there are, the costs are very minimal.
That looked like
Yeah.
a good deal for all involved.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you for your efforts. Anything else?
I just had a question. Why is one modified A and one modified B? Was one at East Aurora and one the other one's at Holland?
No, wait a minute.
Modified
Yeah.
A is 7th, 8th, 9th graders, modified B is 7th, 8th graders.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item F, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve a revision of the tenure effective date of Melissa Evans, 1.0 FTE teacher in the tenure area of elementary education as detailed in your agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Terry, seconded by Paul. Discussion?
This was just an oversight.
Typo.
Yeah.
Yeah, typo. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item G, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the retirement separation payment of $15,000. Ooh, sorry. Jane Rosser, effective July 9th. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Judy, seconded by Dan. Discussion?
She will be missed.
Very much so. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item H, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Amanda Plant to a 1.0 FTE probationary position in the tenure area of special education beginning September 1, as detailed in your attachment. May I have a motion? Moved by Joe, second.
Second.
Seconded by Judy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carried 7-0. Sorry, forgot the discussion. Item I, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education approve the appointment of Christine Garris to a probationary 1.0 position in the tenure area of reading beginning September 1. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Terry,
Second.
seconded by Judy. Discussion?
That's a lot of certification.
That's an awful lot of certification.
What is emergency COVID?
The state hasn't been processing CERBs because of the COVID shutdown, so if you have certain things in, but the state hasn't given it to you yet, it's like a temporary, like remember when you could have the car inspection pushed back? It's the same thing for certifications. There's like a buffer that they've created until they can clear out the backlog.
Regardless, this is a wonderful addition.
Thank you for the explanation.
Yep.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item J, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education accept the resignation of Jill Sangbush, speech pathologist, effective August 2nd. May I have a motion? Moved by Joe. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Kim. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item K, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Megan Westbrook, 1.0 FTE long-term substitute in math grades 7 through 12, as detailed in your agenda. May I have a motion? Moved by Terry, second. Seconded by Joe. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item L, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Amanda Odierno to 1.0 FTE school nurse position beginning September 1, as detailed in your agenda. Do I have a motion? Moved by Joe,
Second.
seconded by Dan. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, carried 7-0. Item M, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Matthew Brown as peer mentor to Tahani Pantoa, effective August 16th, as detailed in your agenda. Moved by Joe,
Second.
seconded by Terry. Discussion? Yay, team. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item O, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Molly D. Tent to the position of .8.
No, it's gonna go on.
Oh, I wrote next to it. So sorry. Thank you. Let's go back to N. The superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of, I'm sorry, Mr. Mambretti, of Mark Mambretti as the District Data Privacy Officer for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Paul. Second?
Second.
Seconded by Joe. Discussion? Not to be overlooked. My apologies. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item O, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Molly D. Tent to the position of .8 FTE long-term substitute, both Spanish 7 through 12 within the foreign language tenure area, effective September 1, as detailed in your agenda. May I have a motion? Moved by Joe,
Second.
seconded by Terry. Discussion?
Is this an actual reduction or was it .8?
It was pointing last year, it hasn't been a reduction that's carried forward for a couple of years.
Right,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Item P, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Brendan McCabe to a probationary position in the tenure area of English beginning September 1, as detailed in your agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Terry,
Second.
seconded by Judy. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item Q, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education accept the resignation of Laura Miller effective August 16th, 2021. I have a motion. Moved by Joe,
Second.
seconded by Paul. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item R, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education accept the resignation of Kelly Beller effective August 18th. I have a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Judy,
Second.
seconded by Joe. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item S, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Bruce Wallace to probationary 1.0 FTE teacher in the tenure area of elementary education beginning September 1, as detailed in your agenda. I have a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Terry,
Second.
seconded by Paul. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item T, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Evan Coyle to a probationary 1.0 FTE teacher in the tenure area of special education beginning September 1. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Judy, second.
Second.
Seconded by Kim. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried 7-0. Item U, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Rocky Coley to a 1.0 FTE probationary speech language pathologist in the tenure area of speech language pathology beginning September 1. May I have a motion? Moved by Joe. Second? Seconded by Judy. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
7-0. Item V, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Jacqueline Adimi to the position of 1.0 long-term substitute speech language pathologist in the tenure area of speech beginning September 1. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Kim.
Second.
Seconded by Terry. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
7-0. Item W, the superintendent recommends that the Board of Education approve the appointment of Sarah Goldbort to the position of 1.0 FTE long-term substitute ELA teacher in the tenure area of English. I have a motion. Moved by Joe. Second.
Second.
Seconded by Dan. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item X, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education grant tenure to Joanne George, School Business Administrator in the tenure area of School Business Administrator effective December 18th, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by everyone. Moved by Terry, seconded by Paul. Discussion?
Yes. We're lucky to have her.
Yes.
It's a hard position to fill, especially with experience, but Joanne goes above and beyond. I know her peers in other districts speak highly of her, appreciate her, rely on her for information. I know the administrative staff, I've heard really good comments about how she takes care of it, from the business office and the finances and making sure they have what they need. And then down the street, somebody said, Paul, we sort of miss you, but we really like. That's okay, I'm fine. Anyway, congratulations. Thank you for the job you do.
Congratulations, Joanne. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joanne. I just, again, I'll kind of reiterate what Paul just said. It's been such a pleasure to be able to work with Joanne. As Paul mentioned too, always going above and beyond, always well prepared and always has me prepared because it's a complicated job. The finances of a school district are very complicated, a lot of rules and regulations that we need to sort through. And so she's just done a fantastic job over the last 3.5 years and we just couldn't be more pleased that she's staying with us.
Thank you.
We owe you a cake.
Yes.
Don't put my face on it.
That's going to be a hard ask. All those in favor?
Aye.
Carried 7-0. Item Y, the superintendent recommends the Board of Education grant tenure to Sherry Gibson, Social Studies 7 through 12 teacher in the tenure area of Social Studies effective January 11th, 2022. I have a motion. Moved by Terry, seconded by Judy. Discussion?
Again, I just want to congratulate Sherry. She's been an excellent addition to our high school staff. It's, we really search hard for the best teachers, and in Sherry, we've certainly found one. And she's just done a great job for us. I know Bill has been very, very pleased with how she engages with students and what she's brought to the team. So we're very grateful for her as well.
Congrats and thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried 7-0. You'll see items of information on your agenda. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So,
Moved by Kim, seconded by Dan. Discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Carried 7-0.